Listen to that.
This is the same ringtone for everybody.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Well, you're giving me old lady vibes too then.
Coming up on the Real Housewives of Atlanta after show.
My nephew is dead, bitch!
She wants somebody to go against me. So she was trying to push you out there to make you do it.
Drew, she's pushing up. You ran her off. She's out there.
And sing.
I just felt like, well, damn, this is my girl. You know, I have your back. I have my back too.
Marlo, bitch, I'd have came in there and drug your little wig off.
I could not move my leg. I thought her butt was just gonna explode.
And
The Real Housewives of Atlanta after show starts right now.
Drew, in Portugal, Marlo apologized for what she said at the winery.
Now, I've seen her plenty of times. She's not apologized. And now all of a sudden, she throws this little nonchalant, fake apology.
I apologize for saying you at the winery. I am truly sorry.
There is never a reason for you to get in someone's face and then, didn't you call me bitch?
Nephew is dead, bitch!
You know what? Bitch, in my face, and then storm out.
I thought about it when I left. I'm like, okay, I did yell at Drew, like, hey, it was a trigger for me.
Yeah.
It was a trigger, and I did yell at her. I'm like, you know what? That might have really bothered her.
Yeah.
She's not really from Chicago, because me yelling like that, her being probably from the suburbs, she probably ain't used to being getting yelled at like that.
Okay.
So I'm really sitting here like, you know what? Let me apologize, because I didn't have to yell at her.
But you were having an emotional moment.
Yeah, I had a moment. Yeah.
And I just felt like definitely like she should have apologized because she wasn't directing her anger at the right person. She had an issue with Kandi.
My nephew is dead, and he used to work at her restaurant.
She had an issue with herself because all that stuff she was trying to get you to say, she should have said it to me.
Said it herself.
At the City Winery, I had no idea that was going to come out. I had no idea Drew was going to bring up, the shooting.
Kandi, what's going on with Blaze? There was like an incident. It was like all over the news.
They're fine.
You talking about the shooting that happened at Blaze?
When she brought that up, I don't know what's so hard for them to understand. It was a trigger word. It just triggered me. It really did. Mm-hmm. You're telling me that your nephew getting shot at one of your restaurants is not going to make you think about my nephew getting shot at that used to work for one of your restaurants? Right. My sister, she's like, call me, they just killed my baby, your nephew. I'm like, my nephew is 30 and he lived here in Atlanta, and just him and a roommate got into it and he murdered him. And I cannot explain it. I'm not here to try and help them understand it anymore. Yeah.
It annoyed me that she kept trying to put you under the fire just simply because you didn't use the word shooting, because at the end of the day, you saying incident, everybody knew what you were talking about.
Yeah.
She wants somebody to go against me other than her. So she was trying to push you out there to make you do it. You didn't take the bait, and she got mad at you, and then she tried to turn that into, oh, it's because of her trauma.
My blood nephew is dead. My blood nephew is dead. But you're talking about acting. No, you're acting about my.
Then when I yell at her, there's no cameras up. This is an off-camera moment. Mm-hmm. Let's be clear, it's an off-camera moment when I yell at you. This is me really talking to you girl to girl, heart to heart. Why did we not hold Kandi accountable? Why did you use synonyms and you dance around things when it comes to Kandi? No cameras are up. Marlo is really trying to have a heart to heart moment.
And you don't get credit for the fact that you literally said, I'm gonna sit down and listen to you.
I'm gonna let you talk.
I don't need to say something.
You right here to witnesses. I'm not. You listen too. Listen while I'm quiet and I talk.
You were trying to talk and she started talking over you, that's when you started to get more frustrated.
Her husband to stay.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're having a debate, sometimes you may not remember in exact order of how it came about. But you know how you felt when how it ended. And how it ended, she screamed in her face as she was walking out the door. You're talking about a woman who is almost 6 feet tall, who is 6 feet tall in heels. How tall are you, Drew?
I'm 5'4" in heels. I'm 5'3".
Okay, so at the end of the day, if she felt threatened, then she felt threatened.
You know, no hands were thrown. She just was being aggressive. And it wasn't warranted, because it was like, I just had my leg wrapped around her, and we was being all, cool
and not to mention, you were not yelling at her.
And I was not yelling. Actually, I was trying to bring her down. Like, I feel what you're saying. Like, I was trying to connect with her. It was just like, she's not receiving it.
First of all, Drew brought this up, not Marlo. And if you're gonna be upset with how I feel, what triggered me, how I grieve, that's on you. I finally have realized that's on you. That's on you, baby girl. And I can't
growth,
do it.
Marlo.
Yeah, it's on you.
Okay, everyone, let's come back from break. Everyone clear the set, please. So before we start, Kandi, what did you just watch on your phone?
Oh, it was Sanya over here talking about it wanted me to understand where Marlo's coming from.
Because you were trying to attach your cousin's shooting to me, and it had nothing to do with me. I told you he no longer worked with us. So I don't understand why you running it back to her as if his shooting had something to do with me in my damn restaurant. Don't do that.
I was like, man, she'll get her ass up out of here with that bull.
This is the thing. Like, to me, Kandi never clearly understood your point. And I think it was a simple thing. You were just like, look, like, I was hoping you'd have been more sympathetic, that you'd have had made a nice gesture. It had nothing to do with her restaurant. But now looking back, Marlo, do you feel like, have you learned and understand that people aren't going to always respond the way that you think, and that's okay? Like, would you let it go next time, being like, you know what, that's just how Kandi roll. Like, I'm not even going. What's the point? You know what I mean?
Looking back, what I've taken from this whole ordeal is, you could have known someone over 10 years. I've known her longer than every girl sitting here. I was at her first house. I dated her godbrother, and just because your nephew worked for her, who loved her. My nephew, I never even told y'all this. It's so much more that he had signed to do a show with them. I have his papers that he signed. He was so excited. Auntie, I'm doing a show with Kandi, an OLG show.
Was that the one that got canceled?
The show that got canceled, like before it happened.
Oh, shut up.
You act as if you never heard about it. My sister, she's like, call me, they just killed my baby, your nephew. I'm like, my nephew is 30, and he lived here in Atlanta. When I opened the door, you ain't have a flower for me, you ain't have a card for me.
So how did she know? You called her the day before?
I texted
Or
her.
you text her the day before?
And you acting like it's the first time you heard it.
I'm not here for Marlo trying to use this situation as a moment.
I sent you a text, but also at your house when we were packing for Riley's theme. I came to you, I was so emotional that day. But when I brought it up to you, I could tell you didn't want to deal with this.
3 years now, because this happened in 2020. 3 years, I have not heard anything about her feeling a way about nothing. I was around her. I mean, you know, she came around me. She expressed it. I told her I was sorry. I hate to see what happened. You know, I told you in the next breath, she was hitting me up, asking me about joining under the cameo underneath that so she can get a percentage of what I got.
5 days later, she's texting me about signing up through Cameo through her. She said, easy lunch money for you if you've not already signed up. Like,
She doesn't sound too upset to me.
Right, you know?
I'm like, me and her talked about everything under the woods in these last couple of years, and that has never come up.
Right.
Never. Not to mention, back when she told the story originally, she didn't even say anything about the roommate having to do anything with our restaurant.
Just him and a guy, a roommate, got into it, and he murdered him.
Damn.
But now, all of a sudden, years later, she got on
attached you.
TV and tried to attach the roommate to me.
I tell you, my nephew used to work for OLG.
Okay.
And he got shot by a guy that he met at your restaurant.
That is not
A guy
true.
he met.
Not-
He said he met him at the restaurant.
Well, I don't know if he was a patron, but he
Yeah,
never
that's what
met
he just
nobody
said he
that
met.
worked there.
I've never seen Marlo on camera say that her nephew's roommate worked for you. I've heard Shereé, Kenya, and Drew say it on camera.
Her nephew worked for Kandi's restaurant. He met a guy that was working in Kandi's restaurant as well. They became roommates, and the one guy killed her nephew.
Okay, that don't have anything to do with Kandi.
Okay,
But
so
I've
where
never
did you
heard it
hear
out of
from?
Marlo's mouth.
Where did you hear
When
from?
Marlo and I had the conversation, because I was, of course, confused. So I was trying to understand, like, what happened, how it happened, and how you were involved. And yeah, she said that he knew the guy and they met because he worked at your restaurant.
So one more time, and this is facts. The guy
Never
never
worked
worked for me. I've never heard her say anything about him meeting that person at our restaurant. So what reason would she have to try to bring that up? To me, it was nothing else but her to try to have a way to drag me on the show. At the end of the day, if you felt the way that you're feeling, I should have heard it long before now. It wouldn't just be coming up. And I'm not giving her no excuses. I'm not allowing her to slide on this moment. No, I'm not falling for it. It's not happening.
Girl, go ahead on. Your character speaks for who you are, and I'm okay. I'm okay with you, Kandi. I'm okay with you. I'm cool on you. I have just realized, accept people for who they are.
Yeah. That's all you can do.
Accept them for who they are.
Drew, you confront Kandi about the "and scene" comment.
Confront sounds so confront.
Unseen.
Drew, she's pushing up. You ran her off. She's out crying.
Drew? Oh, she is over there.
And seen.
You going to check on Drew?
No, I'm going to the bathroom.
It hurt my feelings because I'm like, again, this is somebody I consider to be a friend. And I felt it was insensitive, so of course I brought it, you know, to your attention and told you how it made me feel. Last night I had like an emotional moment, and who was telling me that when I got up, you were basically saying like,
I said, and scene.
But and scene to me sounds like she thought you were acting.
My first instinct was to make the joke.
I respect you sharing.
yeah, like, and I didn't want to walk around carrying it and being like, oh, she made me mad. Like, I'm not that type of person.
Did y'all notice how fast Drew and Kandi made up about her saying and scene?
To hear that you did that, I was really disappointed and hurt.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, Drew.
Okay.
They brushed right over that.
Drew had to really feel some kind of way, because if that's your friend and you are crying, Marlo, bitch, I'd have came in there and drug your little wig off. Pulled your whole wig off. You tell me and scene.
Well, honestly, when I said it, I wasn't really thinking much about it. I was the and scene, and then I got up and went to the bathroom. But it was like...
Kandi and Drew are close. So I just feel like that comment was insensitive of Kandi. It played down Drew's real feelings.
I just felt like, well, damn, this is my girl. You know, I have your back. I have my back too.
I mean, I understand what she's saying. I take my part in being wrong on that one. I did think, okay, she's being a little dramatic today because
I'm dramatic, Kandi.
Of course.
I'm a dramatic friend.
But I mean, you're not the only, I could be dramatic at times too. So, you know, I get it. You was going through something, even though, you know, the lawsuit to us was like, girl, it's $1,000 to pay the girl out. To you, it felt like the worst thing in the world.
That was it.
I
That's what it felt
apologize,
like.
Drew. I didn't mean to minimize your feelings.
Thank you, Fran.